in attendance. And I want to thank the leadership of the MCDC for extending the invite. And I wanted to recognize a couple of my branch members, Doris Sanders and Reverend Jeffrey Owens, who are out with me tonight. It's just kind of amazing how things just work out. When I got the flyer about the meeting notice, I saw commitment, courage, conviction. I said, oh, I got a subject already. You know? So I was glad to be given a subject. But what I wanted to tell you that I'll always be Rayford Mack. But I ran from the calling of being a minister for so long. It finally came to fruition that once God started working on it, he doesn't stop until he's finished. So everything comes in due time. But on today, I'm here to be a representative of the NAACP. And I'm president of the Metro Montgomery branch, which is part of the oldest and boldest civil rights organization in the United States. And in that package of information, you'll see, and sometimes there's something that's lost in it. The NAACP, if you look at that information, it says sometime around 1909 or something of that nature, a group of white abolitionists got together because they knew something needed to be done in reference to the lynching and all the racial discrimination that was going on at that time. So even though NAACP says colored people, and if I'm not mistaken, white is in the perimeter of being colored, you know, but they saw the need. And in that process, the NAACP was formed. So, by saying that, I want y'all to know that it is inclusive of, and we still need for as many of people who have the desire to be members to come on board. So don't be restricted because it says colored people, because you are of color. So I wanted to get that clear. But Ms. Davis asked me, she said, well, what can the Montgomery County Democratic Party do for the NAACP? Then I started thinking local. And I caught a little snapshot of the news. And I think the state convention for the Democratic Convention was going on, I think, in Birmingham. And it's amazing how things work out. But the one snip that I caught was when Dr. Reed said, in order for the Democratic Party to be strong, we have 67 counties. So we're going to need 67 counties to be fully functional. And believe me, if we have 67 Democratic counties functioning, that means that the NAACP in that area is going to be functioning too. So that would help the NAACP not only in Montgomery, but as an organization on the whole. And the other thing, you know, since we're doing so good, and I'm really, you know, I was really emboldened when I left last month's meeting, because when I left some time ago, it was maybe 6 people here and 7 there. You know, I might be exaggerating, but it wasn't as many people. But it was so emboldened and so motivating to see all of us out here, you know, because it's necessary that we do be out here. So it's important that we have a strong, functional Montgomery County Democratic Party in each county of the state. Okay, you know, in Nehemiah, the 4th chapter, it talks about rebuilding of the wall. And the Democratic Party is in that shape. You know, we're at ruins when you kind of look at it. We seem like we might have a goal, but sometimes the next sentence is, you're not clear. But in the process, you know, the wall has fallen down, and it needs to be repaired. You know, the repair work of the construction has started. Even back then, you know, somebody had started working on it. It never just been completely down. Zerubbabel, you know, started the construction, you know, and then years later, 13 or 14 years later, this other guy came along named Ezra, who came in and provided the spiritual input. You know, like Donald Trump put fire up under everybody behind. You know, make us realize that if we don't come out and stand up for what you believe in, then you won't have what you believe in. And even listening to the news today, I was looking how Europe is being destabilized. You know, and if Europe goes, then we're going to probably be at war sometime very shortly. So we need to start getting ourselves together. But we all are here. And as Dr. Davis was saying, you know, we got plans. And just let me get a count. How many in here have projects started that they haven't finished? Be honest. Be honest. Okay, that's about everybody in the room. Okay, it's easy to start a project. Go out and spend all kind of money, all kind of time to get a project started. But now, what about the finish? What about the finish? That's the reason for starting a project, is the finish. See, Nehemiah had a plan. I hear we have a plan. But not only must we have a plan, not only must we have a plan, you must have the commitment, you must have the courage and the conviction to execute. In spite of the opposition. Because it's going to be opposition. You know, as a Democrat, we need to kind of dust off our shoes or whatever we wear. We need to grease and oil our wheels and get this construction started back of our park. We need to reinvigorate not only Montgomery, but we need to start reaching out to our other friends in the other counties, because it's going to take all of us to put this wall back up together again. See, we can't just have just a mind to start this project. We got to have it in this heart up here to finish. So when we start this campaign, we can't stop until 2020. We're going to have a break in 2018, but we got to have a mind and a heart to finish. Now, for a long time, I worked with voter registration, voter education, and voter empowerment. And voter empowerment is something different. See, voter empowerment is where you might take a person who has never voted before, and you go into this area, this neighborhood. And just to make it simple, I'll give you an example. When I was doing voter registration and voter education training, the best way to get a person to vote is to have constant contact with that person. You know, we used to sit up on a corner, and it wasn't the fact that we was doing registration, it was the fact that we was there every other week. So as we were there every other week, all the members of the community knew we were stable in that community. But once you register a person to vote, you know, you just don't take that application. Can I get, what's the next step after you register a person to vote? Can anybody know the answer?
Tell them where their polling place is.
Okay, all right. The answer is, ask them, do they want to help you work? See, you want to get them involved in the process. Then you got a person that's participating in the civil process. So when that person go home, he or she gonna be much more knowledgeable about the civil process. So it ain't turning in the application, that's the process, but it's getting that person to sign on. And see, that's what voter empowerment is doing, will do. It gets that person to become emboldened to really be active in the civil process. Now, I'm with the NAACP, and I've worked with most of the people in this room. And I know a couple of years back, Lou Hammond and we were working on the program, voter registration, which was really, like every play that's designed in football is designed to score. But we just didn't have the personnel to score the ball. So it's a lot of plans that are out here, but we need the personnel. And now looking around, we can equip 3-4 teams. You know, we didn't have the personnel 4 or 5 years ago, but we have the personnel now to equip these teams. And the other thing is, when it comes to turning in an application, it's good for this group to turn in their 5 and this group to turn in their 50. But it's much more impressive if we turn in 300, because we've all are centralized in our reporting, you know. And it makes a difference, because when that elected official goes down there and looks, he said, oh, I got 300 applications from the Ridgecrest area. I got 300 applications from this area. I might need to give these people some attention. But if you go down there with 5 from this area, or 6 from that area, oh, there's nothing rubbed off. So we need to really plan and organize. And the NAACP has a system called VAN. It's a voter access, voter activation network. That's where, if I'm conducting the voter registration drive, whereas that when we used to do canvassing, you used to have to knock on the door to determine if somebody was there. If you put in the address, it would tell you when that person who's living in the home and the last time they voted. And also it has the capability of, we done gathered all this information on and register the voters, but we don't have people to do a phone bank operation. It has the capability to transfer those numbers, and people in Iowa can do the phone bank. So what we need to do as we're running this race and building this wall is to centralize our registration process. And that would really help the NAACP too. I remember back when the Young Democrats, and I think Tanisha was a member of the Young Democrats team, and we had a voter registration drive. The radio station was there doing a live broadcast, and everything was working like a play on the field. So we can do these things, but we just got to plan. You know, we got to plan and have a way to work. And one other thing that would really help the NAACP is that Montgomery has a notorious reputation of not supporting statewide events when we come to town to advocate for issues. It seems like we have busloads of people from everywhere else and no citizens we hear from the town. So we have an anti-session rally that's scheduled for March 20th at the state capitol. And we have one scheduled for April 8th. So if you make yourself available to stand up for Montgomery on those days.
What time?
One is going to be on March 20th. It's going to be from 11 to 1, and on April 8th, it's going to be 10 o'clock, at 10 o'clock. At the state capitol. And then I saw Mr. Hammond come in, I was telling him about the precinct plan that we were trying to implement several years ago, but we couldn't find any players on the field to operate and do the plays. And I was hoping that with all these people here, that we could probably fire that play back up again and get it to roll. But in the package that I gave you, there's some information on there in reference to issues that the NAACP supports, moral movement of Alabama, and you know, where we feel that everybody would have a decent wage. You know, everybody or should have equal rights. And finally, you can also aid us by becoming a member. And in that package is the membership application and the information about the cost of duties is on there. And it's one thing I want us to say and do together before I go. I want you to say, I'm going to say, forward together. And I need for you to say, not one step back. Can I hear you practice one time? Not one step back. All right, let's see if we can get this together.